Actually, this hangout is on. Hey, hi! Say hi, everybody. Hi.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
This is
I'm
Nicholas
Jen.
Vince.
Oh, you're not.
This is Nicholas Vince talking, chattering with Jen and Sylvia Soska. In a few moments, we're going to do the Luggage and the Crypt interview. But I just wanted to say hi to Jen and Sylvia. If you'd just like to introduce yourselves, ladies.
Hi, Nicholas. I'm Sylvia. For those of you that can't tell the two of us apart, we look similar.
We look similar-ish. I'm Jen, and if you can't tell us apart, I have a birthmark here, and fangs.
And she's always on this side, oddly enough.
As you say, that's your good side.
This is beautiful, hideous.
Oh,
I have to.
Now everyone saw the hideous
Oh, no, don't
side.
look at that one. Just delete that frame.
I'd not noticed that
before.
before.
Yeah.
Pardon me?
I said I'd not noticed the birthmarks before. I know you were. When I'm talking to you in the real life, I'm absolutely including exactly who it is I'm talking to, but I've never actually noticed the birthmarks before. Now, thank you very much indeed for joining me, ladies, because I know how insanely busy you must be at the moment, and I know there was a premiere of ABCs of Death 2 recently.
Yes. We just got back from Fantastic Fest in Austin, Texas. So we did 7 days of Film Fest, and it had its ABCs of Death had its world premiere there.
And Fantastic Fest had its 10-year anniversary.
Yeah, it was.
So shit got real.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's like nerd summer camp there because all the actors and the industry people get together with all the people that love seeing these movies, and it's just like the happiest, most inclusive environment you could possibly go to see films, and it's amazing what Tim Lean's done there.
Yeah, and we got to meet so many of the other directors from ABCs of Death, and it's such an honor to be included with some of the greatest directors working in the genre across the globe.
Yeah.
And to actually meet them. Usually we just have online romances.
Yeah, we got to hang out with Jason Eisner, who did Hobo with a Shotgun, which was the inspiration for Dead Hooker in a Trunk. And a life highlight is we're both wrestling fans, and I got to show him the wrestling move that Kane taught me. I can die happy now. I can die a very, very happy woman.
Cool. So, and what date is ABCs of Death 2 goes online, or is it into cinema first? How can people see this?
It's VOD on October 2nd, and it's going to have theatrical on Halloween. And I think somewhere in between there, it gets DVD and Blu-ray. But I believe that's the date across the globe.
It is a perfect date movie. If you want to get laid, go see ABCs of Death on Halloween. I guarantee someone will fuck you.
That is the best. This is the best tagline for any movie I've ever heard. See this movie, guaranteed to get fucked. Yeah.
They should put it on the poster.
I think it is on the poster.
So this is ABCs of Death 2, and of course the other thing you've been working on recently is See No Evil 2, which must be coming out, what, within the next month?
It's going to be out on VOD on October 17th, DVD and Blu-ray October 20th, and if you are in Los Angeles on the 15th of October at 7:30, we're going to have our world premiere at Screamfest. And there's
at the Chinese theaters.
At the Chinese theater, there's going to be, the cast is going to come down. It's going to be moderated by Joe Lynch. Ooh, I'm so excited because with Wrong Turn 2, he's kind of like the coolest dude to do sequels, so I think he's like the perfect person for this, and he's a very sweet guy.
Yeah, he's fucking awesome. And all the other international release dates are around the American dates, so around the 17th for VOD and around the 20th for video, Blu-ray, and DVD. And I know Australia and the UK have been announced.
Yeah.
And as long as the UK has been announced, who cares?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, the UK is always the first to release all of our movies, the first to screen them, the first to everything. You guys get us while everybody else is just kind of here like, what is this? I'm not sure if I like it.
Cool, and of course, now I think, and then next year sometime, you've got Vendetta, is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's our first action movie. It's like it's a Punisher movie where we have Dean Cain as the Punisher and the Big Show as the Kingpin. And it takes place in a prison, and it's It's our first action movie, but you can kill a lot more people in an action movie than a horror movie.
I think the body count is 47, but it's just so weird, like, because Dean has so many very, like, nice characters, these very sweet people, but if you told me 2 weeks before we went to production that I would be saying Dean Cain is the baddest motherfucker I ever worked with, I would have probably laughed in your face, but the shit he went through and how he's just phenomenal in this. I can't wait for people to see it because it's going to be a big step away from what people have seen before.
We almost killed him. Fights every
We tried to. He's very durable.
Yeah.
Very durable.
I like
He seems
that.
like a nice sweet boy when I watched him in Superman and Lois or whatever that was back in the 1980s. Yeah. He always seems such a very nice sweet boy. And in terms, so you've got the premiere of maybe See No Evil 2 in Los Angeles. Where else can people come out and see you, and what else? Where can they hang out with you and see you?
What do we have coming up?
I believe, and it's not confirmed, that we'll be at Toronto After Dark. I know ABCs of Death 2 has been confirmed to be playing there, and I know ABCs of Death 2 is also playing in Australia at Monster Fest, and we're looking to come back to Australia as well. And we also do the conventions. If people invite us, we're there.
Yeah, I don't think we have any right now for the rest of the year.
No.
I'm looking at our Post-its.
Nothing official.
No.
Nothing official. A lot of maybes.
A lot of maybes. Yeah. But also, we found out this morning that American Mary is being released in Japan. We saw this, like, really cool bright yellow poster, and instead of Mary having the normal things that she wears, her apron's super short, and
she's got these
like little fishnets. I was like, wow, that's super sexy.
And it's called American Dr. X in Japan.
Yeah, so if you're an American Mary fan, I don't think you have really experienced it. I know I haven't until you hear it dubbed in Japanese. I think that's going to be the greatest experience of my life.
And where did you actually see this?
It was on Twitter. It was on Twitter this morning, and I looked at it, and I responded, "Is this real?" And then they're like, "Yeah, it's on Amazon." I was like, that's how filmmakers usually find out releases of their films. Someone tweets and says, "Congratulations." You're like, what the fuck?
Sometimes I hear I get jobs through Twitter. I'm like, really? Yay! I got hired.
I was rumored for a lot of jobs on Twitter. I'm like, well, that sounds great. Not happening.
Yeah.
That sounds nice.
Well, I think for See No Evil 2, everybody congratulated us on getting Evil Dead 2. And I was like, whoa, really? We didn't.
I still get congratulated for Evil Dead 2.
I take it. I say thank you.
I would take it.
I don't want to make people feel stupid.
Oh, brilliant. I'm really looking forward to seeing See No Evil 2 because, as you guys know, I'm a huge fan of American Mary. Because this is the only horror movie where I practically cried at the end because I just found it so It's true. This is a wonderful romantic movie as far as I'm concerned.
Thank you. I didn't know Cenobites had feelings.
Cenobites are all about feelings.
Pain, they are.
Mostly. Yeah, absolutely. Cool. All right, then. Well, that's excellent. That's really good. I wish I could be in Los Angeles on October 15th because that sounds very, very cool. I mean, no doubt people will be able to Google and find out. There've been masses of people there. Right, so the reason I invited you lovely ladies on was to do the Luggage in the Crypt interview. Yeah, go. So let's start with the first question. Okay, so what is your view of the afterlife? What do you think happens?
You go first. You always go first.
You go first.
I go first.
You go first.
That's kind of like the Inside the Actors studio questionnaire. What do you want God to say if He exists when you arrive? As long as He doesn't say, oh, you're in the wrong place. I imagine that it's a lot like this, except without all the shitty parts. Everything goes well. You're with your friends, with your family. I imagine it's the same as this to the point that you don't even realize that you're dead. It's just life, but not horrible and not suffering.
Wow.
Yeah.
I have more of an existentialist look at it.
Of course you do.
I don't think we can even comprehend what it would be because this is just...
That's a cop-out.
No. I think I mean, because I used to think, oh, maybe it means you can hang out with everybody. Because I was like, oh, that means I could hang out with Kurt Cobain. But what kind of afterlife would that be for Kurt Cobain that all the nerds that love him are like, hey, Kurt, I really like Nevermind. And I was like, well, maybe you transcend that there. You become something even more otherworldly. That's what I think it is.
That's some deep-ass shit.
I'm a very deep person.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really interesting. I love the idea of that it's the same but better.
Yeah.
It's a really, really nice idea. Yeah, the same but better. But I also completely understand, yeah, poor Kurt Cobain. Everyone just walking up to it, you know, and Hitler being invited to dinner by everybody and stuff. Yeah, all those endless dinner parties with the people who've died, where you say, your ultimate dinner party, yeah, you've got to come in. Okay, so that is your view of your afterlife. So, what 3 films would you guys take with you to sit in the celestial cinema?
I would have to take my favorite film, American Psycho. I could watch that every day for the rest of my life. I absolutely adore it. I think it's so funny, and Mary Herron is the reason I went into directing, and I would like that earthly tie to remember her work and why I went after the career that I did. The other one would be Funny Games, because, I mean, it's in heaven, but you like to see a bit of a downer. It's one of my favorite films ever made. It's so beautiful and so impactful. And I always joke if Jen and I went to do Break and Enters, we'd be very similar to those young men.
We'd be very
ask
polite.
for eggs, and then we would fuck shit right up.
But we needed those eggs first.
Yeah, we would definitely. And the third one is a new movie I just saw, which is my favorite Asteron 6 film, called The Editor. And if you get a chance to see it, please do. It's the Canadian giallo comedy you didn't know you wanted. It's ridiculously funny, and these guys are so good at taking a decade and making a pitch-perfect farce, but without nudging at the camera as you see with Western things. It just is, and it plays so brilliantly.
And you're taking all horror movies.
You're not going to take horror movies?
Nope, because you're bringing them. I'll watch yours.
For shit. Well, what if my heavens doesn't have you?
Your heaven better have me. Whoa. You can stay in your existentialist heaven. I'll be in my awesome heaven. Nicholas and Barbie will be there.
Can I come for breakfast still?
You can all, of course, you can come for breakfast.
Yeah, we're going to have some like breakfasts in heaven. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. It wouldn't be heaven without Cenobite breakfast.
I can see Jesus being there with the crowns being like, can I be here? I'm kind of into the whole Cenobite thing.
He can totally come.
I bet he's scared.
Are you sexually harassing Jesus?
I am not.
You just objectified Jesus.
I just assume he's pretty.
Well, obviously.
I mean,
Jesus.
You would have to be, right?
I'd bring movies from my childhood.
Oh.
Because there's a few movies that if they're on TV, regardless of where they are, I have to watch them all the way through. My favorite movie is Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I watched it so many times, and they've done the humans and cartoon stuff before, but never as good as that. I have a Roger Rabbit in my bed right now as we speak.
She does.
I love him so much. I met Charles Fleischer, and I never mentioned how much I love Roger Rabbit because I was so afraid that for him to know how big a fan I was, and that we'd only be friends because of how much I love it. My other movie would
He might watch this.
Oh, fuck! We're Facebook friends
out of the universe now.
Oh, God.
He's going to think it's weird you never mentioned you liked his work.
Yeah. He does a great John Lennon impersonation.
He does do a great job.
My other movie would be Batman Returns. Oh. Batman Returns is my favorite superhero movie, and I love Catwoman. I love that she's not just the forced love interest. She's got her own shit going on. And my third favorite movie, can you guess?
My third favorite. It's not American Psycho?
I love American Psycho.
Is it American Mary?
No. It's a movie I watched constantly as a kid. The Blues Brothers.
Oh,
I fucking love Blues Brothers.
This is such a commentary on who Jen and I are.
I know, because
Jen's much happier, and I'm like, fuck it.
I want to watch Blues Brothers. I want to see the movie ride.
Oh, it is good.
It is fucking good.
You get bored, you're happy shit, you can borrow a couple of my Blu-rays.
And now, having learned that you love Who Framed Roger Rabbit so much, and I remember seeing that with Clive Barker, funnily enough, at a cruise screening, because one of my friends worked on Who Framed, in fact, two of my friends worked on Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and Clive wanted to go and see it. And we were in Leicester Square, and we saw this, and my friend saw her credit roll up the screen, and that it was misspelt. It was awful. So, sorry, ladies, I have to ask you to do one thing for me. Jessica Rabbit has the most famous line from Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and I think I have to ask you to say this. Could you just?
I'm not bad. I'm just drawn that way.
Yes!
That's the one, isn't it?
That's my line, too. I'm not as bad as I look. I know I look like a fucking bitch, but I'm not.
I just remember that as a wonderful, wonderful line for that. It's a brilliant, brilliant movie. Oh, that's a great selection of movies. So we had The Editor, which is a new one you've seen recently. Funny Game, is that is that your second choice?
Funny Games.
Funny Games. I don't know this one at all, so I will go and check that out.
Oh my gosh, you need to see it.
It's
soul-destroyingly depressing.
It's not overly gory, but the tone is so unforgivably cruel. It's such an upsetting film, which is why you like it.
It's fun, and there's a point where they break the fourth wall as just when you think, oh, finally a moment of release and it's not going to be so horrible, they break the fourth wall and they go back and it gets even worse. And you're like, oh, this is just torture. And the first time I watched it, it pissed me off so much. And then I realized, oh, it's supposed to be torture. And now that you know you're being tortured, you can enjoy it a little better. Definitely recommend.
Who enjoys torture? Hey, just so you know, you're being tortured, so you can go ahead and enjoy it.
It depends who you're rooting for. It depends who you're rooting for. When you root for the bad guy, you get more out of it. If you root for the doomed good guy, you're fucked. True.
You would like it. It's very well done. Very fucking upsetting.
Yeah, very, very upsetting.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I obviously will have to watch that, then I'll have to watch Who Framed Roger Rabbit, just to put me in a nice mood for the rest of the night.
Of course.
Cool. Yeah, no, absolutely.
Did Clive like Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
He did.
I can't imagine Clive watching Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Really?
One of the reasons Clive wanted to watch it was because he wrote a play called The Secret Life of Cartoons, where you've got all these, which has got basically got a gay Daffy Duck in it, as far as I'm concerned. Though of course it's not called Daffy Duck for copyright reasons. If you ever have a chance to watch Clive's play, it was done as a fringe show, and it's only about an hour long, but it's a wonderful, wonderful play about these creators, this cartoonists, where all these characters come to life and start occupying his world. And Doug Bradley, in a pair of button ears, back in the 1980s, The Secret Life of Cartoons, just brilliant. One of my favourite plays by Clive. And that's why we wanted who wanted to go see it. No, he loved it. I mean, I've sat with Clive watching Little Mermaid, and I'm trying to remember the name of the villainess in Little Mermaid. The kind of this Ursula. I'm getting prompts from our stage. Ursula. Which kind of comes back to me really not liking octopuses and squids and having really not liking those creatures. Cool. All right. This is your film. The wonderful choices. 3 books. Which books would you take with you?
You want to go? Or do you want to
go?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go right after you.
American Psycho.
Oh shit, me too.
I love American Psycho. I love the film, but the book, the way Patrick Bateman describes with such delicious detail his clothes or the music he's listening to, he does that about his murders as well. And I know that in the book, if you take it super literally, it's very disturbing and disgusting, but I felt that was lacking in the films because he's so meticulous about everything that he does. And the monologues when he's, narrating what he's doing are my favorite parts. And the book is exactly that. It's just a big, long narration.
Yeah, I picked that book too. It's one of my favorites.
We can both take. We can both choose it.
My favorite scene probably could never go in a movie, although they were planning on remaking American Psycho more like the book.
This is good.
So he wakes up after murdering a prostitute, and he wakes up with morning wood, and he has her decapitated head still on his dick, and he's just walking around his apartment, just looking at stuff. And I don't remember what it is, but it's something that really upsets him, and it makes him lose his wood, and he doesn't even realize it until the head falls off his dick and hits the ground, and it startles him. And I thought, oh, what a brilliant moment. How weird and macabre. And, of course, that wasn't in the other big screen adaptation, but every time I read it, it's so ridiculous like that. I can't help but giggle like, oh, this is so stupid.
Isn't a human head 8 pounds?
I don't know.
That's strong.
Well, what does that say about Patrick Bateman's dick?
Well, he works out.
He works out a lot, apparently. This is so cheeky before noon. Okay, go.
Oh, my next favorite book. The Prince by Niccolo Machiavelli.
Yeah.
I love Machiavelli.
Oh, yeah.
And I know he's a bit of a dick, but, you know, this world is full of dicks, and the things that he says in it are amazing tools for business and ways of, you know, manipulation. And when you work in the film industry and you work in the business side of the film industry, you need Machiavelli there saying, this is what you should do. Better to be feared than loved.
My little warlord.
No, I love that. And I guess my other favorite book would be, and it's a hard fucking read, is Blindness.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think that it won a Nobel Peace Prize. And there's a book, film made of it with Julianne Moore, but it doesn't translate as well as the book is. Basically, everyone in the world goes blind except one woman, and it deals with what would humanity do if they no longer have to see what they're doing or live with their sins or be aware of the world around them, how quickly they break down society, and it's just rape and murder and torture and tearing people around and scavenging for food and crawling around. It goes from, oh shit, some people are blind, to no fucking law at all.
Lord of the Flies.
Very fast. Yeah, but it's an even darker version of Lord of the Flies. Like, rape instantly. One of the first things they're like is, oh, women can't see, better start raping them. Men can't see, better start raping them.
As you do in a world, I guess.
I know it sounds dark, but it's a very religious, beautiful, spiritual book.
I'm surprised that's in your list.
I
would borrow that book in heaven.
You would borrow that book.
I would borrow that book in heaven.
It's translated from, I forget the language, so the punctuation. There aren't periods where there should be periods, so one sentence could go on for 3 pages, and you just take every thought in that sentence. You're like, okay, this, okay, this, okay, this, okay, this, and then you get to the period at the end of like 8 pages. You're like, okay, one thought completed, and then you keep reading it. But it's one of those things that the more you read the book, the easier it becomes to read, because your brain just adjusts to it. It's a fucking great book. It's a hard read, but you know, if I'm in the afterlife, I've got some time to get through it again.
I want to grab my book. One of my
You're
books.
grabbing your
I'm
book.
grabbing one of my books.
Off she goes. Now it's just us.
Well, actually, who is the author? The book is called Blindness, and who's the author?
Blindness. It's a name I couldn't pronounce if it was in front of me.
I'm sure that we can I can ask Craig. Craig, could you do some? He's doing. I'm looking off to my stage. To my beautiful and glamorous assistant who's looking this up for us to see if we can get the author.
I can grab my book too.
You're going to grab it? Yeah. My, after American Psycho, my second book would be Rebel Without a Crew, written by Robert Rodriguez, which accounts making El Mariachi. We used to call it the Bible, and the very last sentence is, you make the movie and I'll bring the popcorn, which was so inspirational to Jen and me. We actually decided to go into filmmaking like, oh, we can do that. Here's your Blindness.
Yeah, it's his fault that we have a career. This is the book.
Here you go.
Right.
And it's Jose Saramago. And it is the winner of a Nobel Prize for Literature. I know, look how fucking fancy I am. But look, there are no periods, only commas. Only commas. And that's the entire book. And you just have to pick it up. It's a good read. It's a hard read, but
It seems like a very difficult read.
it is. But you know what? Reading is cool. Yay!
My third book is Griffin and Sabine. I don't know if you know this book. Have you? Do you know?
No,
Oh, it's wonderful.
Cool.
It's about an artist named Griffin who is extremely lonely and extremely depressed, and this woman called Sabine starts writing to him with art that he's disregarded, and he's like, how does this woman know me, and how does she know everything about me? And it's all done in postcards.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It's absolutely amazing. So you take it out, and it feels like you're actually reading their little, like, back and forth. But the whole thing is you don't know if this woman actually exists, or he's gotten so lonely, and you know how psychotic us artist types get, that he actually made this woman up in his mind and started sending himself the letters, and it goes on for a while, and it has all this, like, beautiful, outlandish art, and it ends that they're going to meet, and then you never really find out if they're going to meet or not.
It's one of those books, kind of like Pan's Labyrinth.
Yeah.
That depending on the kind of person you are, you either say, oh, he's gone insane, that he's just gone off to kill himself, or you're a positive person, you're like, she does exist, and they do have this magical, beautiful relationship.
Well, as a psychotic artist, I always dream that one of my characters are going to come to life and start sending me letters, so...
In my heaven, my characters will be there too.
Oh, I hope in my heaven my characters are there in a very existentialist way.
Well, we'll have breakfast.
Oh, wouldn't that be nice? Do you think Mary would be a bitch?
No.
Do you think she would be a little...
She wouldn't show up, though. She wouldn't
show up. She wouldn't even know how to talk to people. She'd just kind of sit there staring. I think Jacob Goodnight would be horrible for breakfast. He's just stab, 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 stab.
Mary would probably talk to the Cenobites, though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she'd have lots in common with you guys.
Yeah.
Oh, so now I've got this vision that I'm going to be having breakfast with you and characters I've played. So I've got Kinski, I've got the Chatterer, both versions of the Chatterer.
Oh.
And the other things I've been, but also all the characters that I've written as well. Oh, that's from the short stories. That is an extraordinary thought. Yeah, sitting down and actually having.
That'd be brilliant.
I was with some writers yesterday, and we were talking about the difference between writing a short story and a novel. Is that you're kind of on a speed date when you're doing a short story. Yeah. You get to know your characters very quickly and so on. But if you're writing I guess if you're writing a film as well, you spend a long time with these people, getting to know them, really understand how they're going to behave, etc. And spending heaven talking, that would be very strange. I like that idea. Yeah, that's going to be a very cool idea. I've lost track now because I can count.
Oh, those were three. I didn't think
six. Have I got all 6 books?
Yes.
Right.
We both picked American Psycho.
We both picked American Psycho.
Both picked American Psycho. Yes, which I've never read, but now I want to go and read just for that.
Oh, you should send you all these books. You'd love them.
American Psycho. So it's very romantic too. Like
American Psycho is romantic.
Yes, because he loves his secretary actually, and he decides to spare her life, and he realizes he could never have a normal life. No, it's beautiful.
What is wrong with you?
I'm not sure.
It's horrible. It's a horrible. He's a horrible man. He deserves everything that happens to him. And
I understand him.
Well, it's interesting because you talk about the detail, because the scene I remember from the movie, one of the scenes I remember from the movie, there's the sorry, I was just getting something off to my right. I'm getting things thrown at me. Is the description of the business card?
Yes.
Is that whole thing? And I remember. I mean, I lived through the 1980s. I was working in the 1980s, and there was, the yuppies. I knew these people, and the whole thing about the business card and the thickness and the print and the raised print of the business card, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, completely obsessive. Okay, so that was books. Right, now this should be fun. Songs or music or concertos or film scores or music.
Music's tough. Oh my god. I have a new song that I love.
Really?
Yeah.
You're gonna go with song instead of an album?
I'll do the whole album. But Slash. I fucking love Slash, and he's a horror fan, and he's the coolest guy ever. And his new album, World on Fire, came out. And I love the title track, but there's this one song called The Unholy, which is a 7-minute, amazing, fucking true rock star song.
You don't make songs like that anymore.
No, that's why I love it so much, because nobody makes 7-minute songs. Nobody makes songs with, like, 3-minute guitar solos. It's just so fucking good.
On the note of guitar solos, we saw him play live for the first time a few weeks ago. There was a 20-minute guitar solo. I didn't even know such a thing existed.
I thought it was never going to end, and I hoped it wasn't going to end. You could tell people were like, because it had lulls and rises, and it was like, oh, yay, it's ending. It was like, oh, it's still going.
It was amazing to be at a rock show and for him to jam like that, and it felt so intimate. Yeah. It felt like I was just sitting in a studio listening to him just do whatever, and it was so amazing to see a master of his craft do that. I couldn't hear for 2 days afterwards, but totally worth losing the hearing and being in the front row being like, this is the greatest thing ever.
Then I would take everything Slash has done.
Okay.
Danny Elfman. If I could pay for Danny Elfman to come around and compose my life, like right now, it would be like something delicate, little piano and maybe a little violin. And then as I got excited, it would just brilliant. So many of his scores are just so emotionally incredible. And, if I was to choose one more, the Beatles' White Album.
Really?
I fucking love the Beatles' White Album.
I would take...
Even number 9, that piece of shit song that's on there, I even fucking take that.
It's not a piece of shit, it's the Beatles.
That one song?
I liked it.
No, that one song is the result of a lot of...
So, listen to that.
It's just sound.
Well, the Beatles always said if there's any justice in the world, Abbey Road would be their most received album. And that's the one I would take.
Yeah.
I would take the Beatles' Abbey Road.
You can come over and listen to Helter Skelter.
I am the most giantest Kurt Cobain fan ever. I'm going to show you something.
Oh, yeah.
We have Kurt's guitar string. We have it as inspiration.
Yes.
Right here. So never mind.
Here we are.
Wow.
We always hold it for inspiration. One of the nicest gifts I ever got from a friend, Don Petit. He came over and he said, "I have something for you guys." And he says it's an artist that started small and really worked to become huge. And I know you're a fan of his, and I thought you guys should have this. And every time,
Couldn't believe it.
Well, there's a lot of peaks and valleys in this industry, and it's between our two laptops. So anytime it's hard, it sucks. We just touch it. We're like, okay, Kurt, we're gonna keep going.
What would Kurt do?
What would Kurt do?
Well, not exactly what Kurt would do, but
well, not exactly,
Exactly.
but similar enough. Yeah, Nevermind. I can listen to Kurt Cobain morning, noon, and night. I love Nevermind. And then there is. I'm lucky enough to know some amazing artists. My best friend in the world is a punk rock musician called Kevy Mental, and he has a band called Fake Shark Real Zombie, and their album Liar is my favorite thing.
Nice.
The thing is, he's so well versed. He does classical, he does rock, punk, he's done country, hip-hop, everything.
Everything.
And to take all of those interests and put them together in a completely chaotic, original album is amazing. My favorite song is something called Get Weird, and I was talking to him last night, and he said that this big website said it was the worst song they ever heard, and I was like, oh my god, that's terrible. And he said, and the weird thing is, we got like 100,000 more views because everyone's like, what's this piece of shit? I need to listen to it. Those are my 3 albums.
Brilliant. So those are amazing choices, which I shall look forward to listening to, because I do go away after I do these interviews, because I do go away and listen, and
Really?
I'm actually reading The Talented Mr. Ripley, which was by Wild, and it's brilliant. She's absolutely right about Patricia Highsmith. I've got a couple of her books that I'm now reading, because I never just read one thing at a time. There's always half a dozen things I read at any given time.
Oh, books.
It must be confusing.
It is very confusing.
I'm trying to finish American Sniper right now. I couldn't read something else. Do you know American Sniper?
I don't.
Oh, it's fantastic. What is his name? Chris Kyle?
Chris Kyle, I think.
Chris Kyle. He was this. He's a sniper in the SEALs team that has the most recorded kills of anyone, and he has his whole story of how he kind of fell into that, how he was overseas, the horror, the shootouts, his relationship with the woman he fell in love with, like what it was actually like. Like it's so dark. But the thing is, this guy, he's like Captain America. He's such a good man, and he's like, oh, I'm just doing my job, and it's just so interesting to hear. Like, it makes me want to be a better man reading that book.
You're a good man.
I'm okay, man. I'm getting there.
It's interesting. I did some research. I did quite a bit of research for one of the short stories on snipers, because I met a sniper from the Falklands War, way before your time, the Falklands War. But it was really interesting, and also how much this has changed over the years, because the scopes have got so much better, and the fact that you can kill somebody a mile away. So that person has not. I mean, that's the thing about the sniper, is you just never know. But you think a mile away, over a mile, and that's just mind blowing as far as I'm concerned.
It's incredible.
Cool. So that was your song choices before we started moving back onto books again and so. But 3 plays or musicals? Do you guys watch musicals or?
Yes, we do.
We do. We absolutely do.
Does opera count?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
My dad's a painter, and he's very into classical music. And as little girls, I never understood it, but he would make us go to art galleries, even though I had no idea what was going, and I would have to learn about paintings and different painters. And then
he forced culture on us.
Forced culture on us, and we had to go to operas, and I had to see everything. My favorite is...
It's going to be mine, too. I'm going to take that one with me.
Do you want to say it at the same time?
Yeah. Don Giovanni. Don Giovanni is so good. I remember...
You think an opera, you're like, oh, this is going to be lame.
Boring.
And it starts with a rape. And you're like, what is going on? And it's so racy.
Oh, he comes on like so strong, and it's like, what a dick. I love him.
He's like Pepe Le Pew, a little skunk from Looney Tunes. He just can't know for an answer.
He's insatiable. I love Don Giovanni.
Oh, yeah. The first time we saw it, it was the sexiest and most amazing opera singer who was playing the title role. And I couldn't stop watching it. I was like, I can't believe this is an opera. I didn't know operas were like this.
And he gets dragged into hell at the end.
It's so cinematic.
We should make a movie. We should make Don Giovanni.
There are a few.
We should make a good one.
You are not the first one.
We should make a good one, a memorable one.
A memorable Don Giovanni. You need to Google it. I think there are memorable ones.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, well, but it would be nothing like what you guys would come up with.
No, it would be
absolutely not.
Sure. Well, many people would agree with me on that one.
No,
all right,
I think all my choices are musicals.
Are all yours musicals?
All my plays are musicals.
I bet ours are the same.
Really?
Little Shop of Horrors.
No.
You didn't pick Little Shop of Horrors?
No.
Growing up.
I love Little Shop of Horrors, but I chose...
Jen and I watched that growing up. I can't believe every day, Little Shop, every day.
Yeah.
We wanted to be the plant.
I know.
Wow.
I know, but
I guess you don't really know people, Nicholas.
I love Little Shop of Horrors, but I realized because I'm never going to let go of Little Shop of Horrors. I chose LUGGAGE au Faux.
Oh!
LUGGAGE.
I love LUGGAGE. Jen and I worked on a theater production of LUGGAGE, and it was just so brilliant. I mean, I love the films and everything, but theater, people are right there. And you can see from the actor's performance to how the audience is reacting, and it just makes this great energy, and that's something you can't have otherwise.
Yeah, and I want to bring that with me, too. I love it so much. And the Birdcage, the film, that's another film. If it's on, I'm done. It's like, I'm sorry, I can't make the meeting. Birdcage is on. I'm watching it TV edited.
I kind of like the play better. Because there's a few numbers that I wish that they had in there.
Both, but my God, how good is Nathan Lane and the late, great Robin Williams in
he's
that?
Phenomenal.
Fucking amazing. And my third one, can you guess? It's another musical.
Mine's Evil Dead the musical.
That's mine too.
Oh, yay!
That's mine too.
We're twins again. I had never even heard a song from Evil Dead the Musical, and we went with our good friend Tristan on Valentine's Day, and we sat in the splatter zone, which we didn't really know.
Yeah, my friend Lisa Ovies invited us, and she introduced us to the producer, director, and star,
Ash.
Chance Newman, who I just call Ash.
Yeah.
And we went on Valentine's Day. There's no more romantic Valentine's Day.
We were so bloody when we left.
I didn't know they could aim for us.
No, I got flash danced with a bucket of blood, so I got carried constantly. They do lap dances with like intestines. I mean, it was very sexy.
It was so sexy.
Can you bring that to heaven?
I hope so.
I hope so. I hope heaven's cool with that. Wow, we were different.
I bet you wish you could have taken LUGGAGE, so we'll switch. We'll trade LUGGAGE and Little Shop.
No, that's why Jennifer and I want to do a play again. That was some of the most happiest days of my life. And the best was when an actor would fuck up, and then you'd see everybody, it was a machine. They would work together to fix the fuck up and smooth it out so no one would see, and they'd go on with the
Those
play.
are my favorite parts, because you really act in the theater.
Oh, yeah.
Not like this movie bullshit.
Yeah, where people are like, I just got my sides, I haven't read them, what do I do today? I don't know, be a pain in my ass, apparently.
I was just going back to LUGGAGE au Fol. Have you seen the original French movie?
No.
No, I should.
They're in two. There's the first one, and then they did a sequel. So the first one is, it's the plot of the film and the musical and so on, but obviously it's in French, and I love it. I really, really enjoy it. And then the second one is a spy caper. The same characters, but they're kind of in a spy caper.
Wow.
So I recommend both those. They're very good. But those are brilliant choices. I've not seen. I've heard of Evil Dead the Musical. I've seen bits of it on YouTube. I'd not heard that there was a spy.
Oh, Nicholas, you should be the guest of honor there. You should be front row center so they can just drench you in blood.
Wear clothes you don't mind getting horribly, horribly bloody.
Wear white. Wear white.
We wear white because we're...
Washable white sounds like a really sensible idea. Craig sitting in the next room, my husband's in the other room. We took Craig to see LUGGAGE au Fol with a guy called John Barrowman playing the lead, whom Craig is a great fan. And we had a table at the very front. And Craig was the person that was picked on in the audience in LUGGAGE au Fol. This is in the West End. We had such a great evening. It's such a wonderful show. I really, really love that show. Okay, so we're coming down. So we've done all the artistic stuff and so on. So, a piece of furniture. What piece of furniture would you take with you into the afterlife?
Look at you.
King-size bed. A king-size bed with... oh, my God. I love me some sleep, and I love to take up a lot of real estate.
Really? That's so luxurious.
Oh, yeah. Could you imagine? I'm in heaven, and I get to be in beautiful, big, comfy down sheets, down pillows, and silk sheets, too. And maybe I'll bring rubber sheets just in case, because I don't know who else is going to be in heaven. There might be some kinky shit going on there. Who knows?
It wouldn't be heaven if it didn't happen. It wouldn't be heaven.
Might be some weird shit. Who knows?
I would bring my director's chair. It's shut up. Jen and I, our spirit animals are the Weinsteins because we're very polite and Canadian. Sometimes I feel we need a little Bob and Harvey sprinkled in there. So our nicknames are Bob and Harvey. And my director chair.
I have a Bob one there.
She's got Bob. I got Harvey. I don't know. It's so a part of me. I only really feel like myself when I'm directing, and I can't direct if I'm not sitting in my little angry chair.
None of us are gonna bring Down and Dirty Pictures to heaven.
No.
Fuck. I guess we already read it.
Down and Dirty Pictures. Oh, it's a close fourth.
It's a
close fourth. We should bother Jesus, see if he has it.
Jesus definitely has it.
I bet he's got an awesome library.
He's got the best library.
Cool. All right. Favorite food. What favorite food would you guys cook?
Oh, no
kedli.
No kedli. It's a Hungarian dish. It's spätzle. It's these little dumplings with paprika chicken on top. Oh.
And if I could be very particular, I would want the nokedli that my grandma used to make me. It's such a part of my childhood, and she taught me how to make the recipe. And my mom and dad, they know how to.
Thinking about it. Actually, we have our Hungarian nokedli recipe in Have a Heart Horrors cookbook.
Oh yeah, we put it in a cookbook.
So it's immortalized somewhere.
Yeah, no, it's so delicious. Have you had Hungarian food before, Nicholas?
I don't think I've had Polish food, because I remember when we were doing Night Read, Anne Bobby took me to a Polish restaurant where I used to have beetroot soup and the potato pancakes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's good.
No, I've not.
We should cook for you.
We'll cook for you next time. Next time we're at a convention, I'm going to go in the kitchen and be like, I'm making no kidney for everybody. It's okay.
You should have a Cenobite dinner.
A Cenobite dinner.
Oh, that would be wonderful. Yeah. Okay, yeah, I'm totally up for that. Comic, graphic novel. I think I probably know the answer to this one, but what comic or graphic novel or series of comics would you guys take?
Wow.
It's so hard. It's hard to just bring one because my whole house is comic books.
Oh, it's so much. We should pick by writers.
By writers?
Writers, and we'll just take everything they have.
Well, Garth Ennis is my favorite writer. Have you ever heard of a comic series called Preacher?
No.
Oh, it's fantastic.
I know Garth Ennis.
It's about this.
Oh, I'm sure. I bet Clive likes Preacher.
It's about this priest, this preacher, and he's kind of, having struggles with his faith. And there's this incident at a church where he's given the word of God, which means anything he says, people have to do. And he hooks up with his ex-girlfriend, who's now an assassin and a vampire, to go find God and basically kick his ass. And it is a pitch black satire on religion. I have such a great time reading it. And it has one of my favorite panels where there's this villain that's after them called Aristar. And the panel starts with saying, kill the women first. And you're like, oh, what's this about? And he's talking to his superiors, and he's talking about what you do in a terrorist situation. And if you're in a terrorist situation, you kill the women first, because if there's a female terrorist there, they say she's had to work so much harder than all the men there that she's going to be so fucking deadly that you want to get her out of the equation right away. And that's kind of my mantra for working in the film industry, because as soon as I come in, I'm like, all right, I got to kick some ass, so I got to be the toughest fucker in this room. But it's got so much fun in it, and I love it. The Boys is another series of his, which I also love.
That's great.
It was the first time I read a comic book that was adult rated. Like, as soon as I saw...
It's not just adult rated. It is the most adult rated content available. Sex, violence... And it's at one point, it's the kind of sex and violence you didn't even realize could exist.
Well, it kind of goes smoothly into it. Like, the first big gore I remember is Tulip, the assassin girl, and shoots the guy in the face, and his head actually breaks open. And Steve Dillon is the artist for it, and I guess he looked at real people shot in the face, so it's very authentic. Oh yeah, and dark.
And his tongue's just hanging out of his jaw.
It's amazing. There's a guy called Arseface in it who's a Cobain fan who shotguns himself with his friend, and his friend
James Vance.
Yeah, his face sucks in to look like an asshole, and he becomes like a rock star in it. Like, it's so ridiculous. And then there's Jesse, who's the preacher, and Tulip's kind of very hot sexual relationship. And as soon as I saw him going down on her on the hood of a car, I was like, I didn't know you could do that in comic books. I like comic books.
Of course, you liked it. You repressed Catholic. A dirty, hot priest.
Of course. Isn't that what everybody likes? Yeah. Best Halloween costume ever. Just show up in a collar, watch all the Catholic girls come over like, hey.
I probably have to.
Not good for altar server boys. They would just probably turn around.
I love anything Deadpool.
I know.
Deadpool's my boy. I mean, if you knew how many Deadpools are around here, Deadpool. Got a keychain over there. Another Deadpool here. Just nothing but Deadpool. I love Deadpool. I love him so much.
I love him also.
I would take all of it, but my favorite Deadpool was when Daniel Way wrote him. Daniel Way is an amazing writer. He also created my favorite comic book character, Daken, who's Wolverine's bad Machiavellian bisexual son who has pheromone manipulation powers, and he likes turning straight guys gay.
I think Marvel didn't pay attention to that. Because
the first time he grabbed a really super dirty bullseye and he's making out with him, I was like, am I making this happen? Because I'll read comic books, I'd be like, I wish these dudes would start kissing. And then it happened. I was like,
he's amazing. He is so good. We're actually gonna. Can we say that? Should we?
We might as well. We're gonna start working with Daniel Way.
We're gonna be working with Daniel Way. We're gonna get into comic books. We're so excited. And then we're attached to Painkiller Jane with Jimmy Palmiotti, and we're gonna work on comic books together too. So I'm so happy. It's like being a nerd, and finally you get to the mothership. Like, I think
I'd be happy to talk to them, let alone work
with them and make comic books. Yeah.
That was wonderful news, and somebody was asking about you at comic books earlier on. I was going to come back to them later on, but I noticed that somebody has mentioned. Sorry, Jane. I'm missing the first part of the name. Jane.
Painkiller Jane. Jane Vasco. Oh, it's so funny because Jen and I were always like, I want to do a Deadpool movie. I want to do a Deadpool movie, and he has regenerating powers. And then we met Jimmy, and we talked about Jane, and then I got into Oliver Comics, and I started reading up on it, and she's got regenerating powers, but she's this take no shit bisexual cop that before she even has powers, she's the kind of chick that if you nudge and spill the beer of it at the bar, you'd be like, oh fuck, here's another one. I am so sorry. And it's just.
She doesn't look like a tiny little gentle. She's not gentle.
There is nothing gentle about Jane.
Even before her superpower, she's the kind of chick that you do not want to piss off.
Oh yeah, and the thing is that there was a TV series made for TV movie, but they always kind of like watered it down, like her sexuality and how tough she was. And this one,
they changed the look of her too. Which I hated.
And so Jimmy Palmiotti and his writing partner Craig Whedon have made this amazing script, which is exactly like the comic book. Like, the shit they put in there, it's unbelievable. It's R-rated. It is as
a hard R.
When your lead character has a shootout wearing nothing but, I guess, bullets that are flying at her, it's going to be a hard R rating. And especially when your lead character's blown apart and you see her cells healing back together. I mean, it's such a dream project. And I also like it because there's such a misconception on bisexual women. Like, a lot of people think it's to be titillating to men, but.
Or they also think that, bisexual girls, we wake up one day and we, flip a coin. We're like, oh, straight today. Oh,
straight today, tomorrow. I'm not sure.
It's about being attracted to personalities and to people and not just, like, limiting yourself to, oh, I feel like dick today or boobs this day.
But she's got this great line where she says, I just fall in love. And I thought, all this fantastical superheroism, and then you have some very grounded and it's just people, and that's how relationships are. Yeah.
And it's something not represented ever before.
No. And it's so funny because everyone's like, we want a comic book movie starring a chick, and you'd think, Black Widow or one of those, and none of the studios want to do it. And then it's like, all right, Painkiller Jane's going forward, and it's the most unlikely, unsafe character to do.
I think it's going to be so good. Painkiller Jane is the female superhero that everybody needs right now. She's so relevant for right now.
She's so relevant. She's so cool. I think that's why we also made our hair red, because we're kind of like in full Jane mode right now.
I know, we're in love with the character.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to this, and I'm really pleased to hear that you guys are writing comics. I wrote comics for 3 years for Marvel. And it really is a fascinating process, and to work with artists and the pictures and the words together and the filmic quality of comics, just amazing. You are going to produce some really, really wonderful stuff. I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, massively. Well, we're so excited that we will create the characters and we'll own the IP for them. And then from there, movies and TV shows.
Yeah, and there's no budget when you write. I mean, if you want a couple explosions in a comic book, you're like,
there's an explosion. You want a dragon to fly down? Boom, there it is.
But what they do say, the one thing I always remember is when, as advice to a writer, do not write the cowboy sees the entire Sioux Nation coming over the hill, because somebody's got to draw in all those little Indians on their horses. No artist will thank you for doing that. Because somebody's got to draw, the huge, great crowd scene. Somebody's got to sit and actually draw that, and they don't thank you for that. Okay. We've got to cover about 2 or 3 things. Officially, we've only got 5 minutes left. But are you guys okay to hang around? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
we'll cover this a bit. Cool. Absolutely. And we've got some. And I'm going to invite some people to join us in a few moments because I know I'm getting some really interesting questions coming in, and hopefully they're going to be there and they're going to be able to join us live. We'll try that. So that should be fun as well. So, video game or game app or creative app. This is a new one for the 1980s. What would you take with you? You've got your iPads or your laptops, and what games would you be playing, or video games would you be playing?
It would have to be a console game. I don't know if you can see. We still have our Nintendo, our original Nintendo.
If I duck down, you can probably see up there.
Yeah, there they are. Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Wii, PlayStation 3, GameCube, Sega Genesis. We have almost every system. Game Boy, Game Gear, because I kept thinking Sega was going to win the
Game Gear, you could play as Xbox. Rogue and Storm in the X-Men games.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't do that in almost anything else, except X-Men Legends.
I guess I'll have to pick the game I enjoy playing the most, which is Deadpool, written by Daniel Way, which, again, I don't think anyone was paying attention to because it's so crass and ridiculous. Like, because Deadpool's a little pervert, right? So he fights this very busty woman, and then he kills her, and you see that she's dead, and then he reaches over and he goes beep beep on her boobs, and I'm like, oh my god! And he takes Mr. Sinister and he bends him over and shoves his sword up his ass, and I'm like, did nobody pay attention? They're like totally. It's so batshit crazy, insane, fun. Written by a guy who actually writes some of the best Deadpool.
Yeah.
And you actually feel like you're living in a comic book. Like, they even have theme songs for the different characters. Like, Cable flies down. He's Scott Summers, Cyclops' son from the future. And they have a song where the lyrics are, "Who the fuck is that?" And it's just like, it's just stupid, enjoyable fun. Plus, you can just shoot and kill everything. So no matter how hard your day is, you can pop on Deadpool and be like, I'm going to kill so many people right now. It's ridiculous.
For me, it's a toss-up.
Is it? Metal Gear?
Metal Gear Solid is my favorite game series ever. Have you ever heard of Metal Gear Solid?
I'm a later generation. We didn't have to. As a kid,
I'll bring our systems over. We'll have a day.
But it's the most cinematic game franchise that exists. The creator and game director is Hideo Kojima, and he started doing these games for Nintendo when it was just little pixelated guys, and then they did a huge jump forward on the PlayStation, where it became like playing a war movie, but it's a Japanese sensibility doing what they see as an Americanized action film. So it's got all that action, but it's got that beautiful spirituality and depth and commentary on war and violence, and it's just incredible. Metal Gear Solid is my favorite series ever, and now that creator is working on my second favorite series, Silent Hill,
with Guillermo del Toro. I don't know if you've heard of Silent Hills, but it's a secret teaser like playable game.
It's a playable trailer,
and it's terrifying. It's so scary. Have you seen it? It's very Jacob's Ladder.
Clive would love it. It's
Clive,
right up Clive's alley.
Would absolutely adore it. It's so scary, and it's fun to play something that's scary. I mean, because
it's really scary. Like, there are things in the game that are just, it has nothing to do with what you're doing in the game. It has nothing to do with the story. It's got nothing to do with anything. It's just there to scare the fuck out of you.
Yeah,
then like weird little sounds. So you're playing there, you're like,
Silent Hill 3 actually didn't sell very many copies because they considered it too scary.
It was too scary.
They figured out how to make the texture of skin, so they would take skin and pull it and put it on walls. You would go into rooms, like one of my favorite things was you go into a room and there's a mirror.
A bathroom, yeah.
Yeah, and you look at your character, and your character starts bleeding from the face, but you're not bleeding from the face, and then the room that you're in reality outside of the mirror world starts bleeding, and the more that your reflection starts bleeding, the more the room starts filling up with blood, and you go to the door and the doorknob doesn't work anymore, and you're like, oh my god, what's happening? And it just gets darker and your heartbeat goes up, and then eventually the door just pops open. It's just to give you a little bit of a fright. But
for no reason, just to scare the shit out of you.
Because it's a great game.
Such a good game.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, yes, my nephews have tried to teach me how to play these games, and I was thinking, they're just, do not understand it in the slightest. Art. Carry on.
Go ahead. I was going to say you could try Silent Hill 2, because you could take the violence down to easy and the puzzles down to easy, so you could still go through that little world without having that much experience with it. And it's one of the darkest endings to a game I have ever seen. It is so... Do you want me to ruin it? Or are you going to play it?
I doubt if I'll ever get the chance to actually sit down and play it. Go on. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert if you haven't played Silent Hill 2. You play it as this guy who goes to Silent Hill looking for his dead wife, and he keeps saying she died of this damn disease, and you get flashbacks of her last few days in the hospital, but you don't really know, and this guy's a bit off. You're playing as him, but he's a bit off, and
he's underreacting to all the weird shit that he's coming across. He's very soft-spoken. You're like, who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah, and
why is he looking for his
dead wife? He knows she's dead, and it's kind of like a purgatory, and he runs into like this super sexualized version of his wife there, but she keeps getting murdered every time he's near her, and you're like, what's going on? Until you find out she was sick. She was terminally ill. He just got so tired of visiting her and listening to her bitch that he smothered her to death. And that's why he ends up in this weird purgatory world. I shouldn't be laughing, but you're playing and you're like, what? Are you fucking kidding me? You're the bad guy.
That's fascinating. It sounds really, really interesting. Now, I come across, I think, so yeah, when I was in Paris, some friends of mine were recommending it. I think the sequel had just come out of the movie. It had just come out, and I thought, oh no, this is good. You have to watch the first one. So when I came home, I sat down and watched the first movie, and I really loved it. I just found it was incredibly, and again, emotionally involving. It's that feel of terror for a parent. Okay, so art, photograph, painting, statue. What sort of art? It sounds as if you were taken rather than dragged to galleries by your father.
My favorite would probably be Rene Magritte. Do you know the surrealist painter?
I don't.
Oh,
Rene Magritte. Sorry, no, yes, of course I know Rene Magritte. I'm talking about, duh. Sorry.
Girl eating a bird. I don't know why I'm so attracted to how horrible that is. And it's this woman,
weird. That's
she's eating a bird, and there's a tree behind her, and there's all these other birds just kind of hanging out. And that was actually my first taste of surrealism. We were in New York for the very first time. We had to go to MoMA because now if there's an art gallery around us, we have to go no matter how tired we are. And I walked into this Magritte exhibit, and I was looking around at everything, and I think it was somewhat with the jet lag and being so tired, it just reached right into my soul, and I was like, this is magnificent. Look how trippy all of this is. It's just disturbing and impactful, but beautiful. If I could own it, I would. I'd put it on my wall.
My favorite painter would be Gordon Smith.
Oh, Gordon.
He's a Canadian abstract artist, and when I was very young, I got into a program called Artists for Kids, and he's the first successful, famous painter that I met, and we're still friends to this day. I mean, he became friends with my dad, and my dad did prints with him, and he was one of the first people to really artistically encourage me.
Yeah.
And it was incredible because we were doing, the first conversation I had with him is they wanted me to do an abstract thing of a ladybug, and I was really upset because I was like, well, it's red with dots. I mean, I don't know how I can abstractly do it because it's a very, I mean, I could do a wilderness thing abstractly, and I can do water abstract, but to do one thing that's supposed to look so specifically, and he's like, then don't do it. And I was like, but they want us to do it. And he's like, then don't do it. Do a tree. Do whatever you want. He was very encouraging with American Mary. I mean, he's watched all of our work, and he does so many wilderness things. He's once told me if he had to draw one more fucking tree, he was gonna die. And he loves the ugly sides of art too. He's like, make it wretched, make people emotionally react to it. And he's just the sweetest man. I mean, I wish he could live forever because he deserves immortality. He's so full of life, and he just drips art. Sometimes he lives by the beach, and he'll go and he'll collect tree branches and shells and rocks and things, and he'll put them together in this beautiful collage. And the way he puts them together is just so incredible looking.
Yeah, the way he sees the world and the way he sees art has had such an impact on us because it's just...
And he's so encouraging.
And there's art in everything and what everyone does, and it's really what defines us as humans, our ability to find art and tune into our souls and then put that out there.
And he's such an open artist. I know there's some people that, doing horror, I'm sure you've heard, being like, oh, I don't like horror movies. I don't want to watch that because it's a horror movie. It's like, how can you have that preconceived notion over something you haven't seen? Yeah. You don't know if it's wonderful. And I always ask those assholes, well, do you like Exorcist? Oh, of course, I love Exorcist. Do you love Silence of the Lambs? Of course, I love Silence of the Lambs. Do you love Jaws? Oh, I love Jaws. Well, those are 3 very successful, famous horror movies. Oh, but they're good movies. Well, that's the thing. A lot of horror movies are great films, but some people just limit themselves.
Yeah.
Great, man. Yeah, no, absolutely. You're absolutely. It's interesting. As I say, I was at the writers' thing yesterday, and I was working with a young lady. And I did the usual thing. I was like, what do you write? Well, I write horror fiction. Looking really sad because usually I think, oh yeah, no, I never read any of that. I got an email from a young lady I was working with yesterday, and she just said, I never knew horror writers could be so nice. I don't like a whole genre. It's dark as far as because there are good horror movies, there are bad horror movies.
Of course.
But they're just dark. All they are is dark. And if you can't completely cut out the dark,
absolutely.
How do you know what's light if you don't know what's dark? So
that's true.
All right. So the last question is, what costume would you be buried in?
Batman Returns Catwoman replica. That's what I want to be. Are you taking notes? I don't know if you can fit my corpse into that. That's skin tight.
I'm pretty sure I'm going to check out first.
I can fit that right. Yeah.
You're not allowed to die before me.
I hope we die at the same time.
I'll resurrect you. I'll bring you back as I think you will die and go to hell. Sorry, but I think you'll come back as like a
spawn creature.
Demon.
I think Satan will see that there's potential here. And
Satan will be like, you know what?
Out.
You're ambitious.
I am ambitious.
You're ambitious.
Very ambitious. For what I'd like to be buried in, I'm so lucky that I met Jane Mallet and her husband Ray as our costumers on American Mary, and the most beautiful, lavish outfits I have worn on red carpets and for different screenings have all been custom made. Whether it's a cosplay costume at a Comic-Con, a Dog Witch, Kane, everything like that, or if we're going to a screening, she made us little like surgical plastic things that we wore in the UK when we went into
that was
promote
awesome.
American Mary. I would give her carte blanche to do whatever for me to dress in when I die, because I know I always feel like a superhero when I have wearing something of hers. I feel like I can take on the world, whether it's like giant or it's like a couple little things. It's just the greatest feeling, and I think I would look good dead in that.
I changed my mind.
You changed your mind?
Yeah, Jane can design my death dress.
I'll ask Jane to make a Catwoman suit for you.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's so absolutely sweet. That's brilliant. Okay, well, those are all my questions. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to invite some people. There's a couple of people here who are posting some. So there's Derek, Neil. I got Derek, and I'm going to invite Ilan. I'm not sure if they're on. Hopefully they should be. Ilan Sheedy. Why are you not coming up, Ilan Sheedy?
I wonder if it's Ilan from the UK.
Maybe.
He makes those great posters.
Oh.
Yes, that's Ilan. Yeah, who makes those absolutely wonderful posters.
Oh, yeah, he does. Yeah, he sent us. Oh, God, he's so
I'm hoping I can actually get him online, and he's been posting some questions. And the third lady I can see is a lady called Diane Cochran. So
I love Diane!
Come on, Cockerham. Come on, there we are. Okay, so I'm going to invite those three, and I'm going to send these invitations out to them now. So I'm hoping that if they're watching this, if not, we will come back to them. And whilst we're waiting to see if they are going to join us, because it would be really great if... Oh, there's another lady as well, a lady called Vicky Lowe. Vicky often joins me. Come on, Kelly Vaughan. Hi, girls. Laura says hello. Miss Yaz.
Miss Yaz.
Ms. Yaz. I can't read this. Hi, Jen and Sylvia. Ms. Yaz. Tell them from that Sandra Struzik says hello and that I send them my love. This is from
Sandra, hello.
I love that. That's great. I'm going to invite Vicky Lowe as well. She had a... It just depends whether Google and their setups allow them. So they've been invited. They may come on and join. There's what I don't have. What I don't. Oh, so okay. So Ilan has put on a couple of questions, but he says, "Oh no, I don't have a mic." Okay, so here are Ilan's questions for you.
All right.
That one. There's a number of them. Are you still planning to make Bob the Monster movie?
Yes, we actually are. We have for those that might not know, Bob, we wrote at the exact same time as American Mary.
We wrote it after American Mary, after everyone said, no, we're not making American Mary, make a monster movie instead.
But we were shipping it around at the same time, and unfortunately, when we wrote it, people wanted a werewolf, a vampire, or a zombie movie, but we grew up in the 80s, and we had look at the Cenobites, so many beautiful, creative monsters that were never seen before. And the important thing there is we wanted to create a monster that nobody had seen before, so we made Bob. And our tagline is, there's a monster inside all of us, and sometimes it gets out. And we've been slowly, we have gotten turned down by everybody. Not everybody, but we keep working and pushing it ahead. We've made a lot of wonderful friends that we've requested.
So we're at the point where we're just casting people, so it can be packaged now all together. And what I'm hoping,
ready to go.
And I'm hoping because ABCs of Death 2 and See No Evil 2 are coming out at the same time, and I hope everybody goes and sees it and buys 1 billion copies, so people will be like, we should just pay the Soskas for whatever they want to do next, and be like, yay, Bob!
And it's going to be a practical monster.
Masters Effects.
Masters Effects. It's going to he has slight visual effects enhancements for his eyes and his nose, very much like you would see Abe Sapien from the Hellraiser films, because that's mostly practical.
Abe Sapien from the Hellboy.
Hellboy. Oh, fuck. I
wonder why you have Hellraiser on the mind.
I always have Hellraiser on the mind. But yeah, slowly going ahead, and hopefully... I can't wait to make Bob. Over my fucking dead body, I'm gonna make Bob.
Yeah.
Cool.
Good
All right. Well, Vicky has just joined us. I'll come to Vicky in just a few moments. Hi, Vicky. But Ilan did have another question which I know you wanted to ask. I'm waiting to have a piece of merchandise to go with your films on my bookshelf. If you could release an action figure or statue or anything on one of your characters, what would you have? And can we Kickstarter the shit out of it? So this is from Ilan again.
That's pretty. Oh, she ran off. Just somebody made something.
Ilan wrote.
Oh, we do. We do have an American Mary statuette that was made for us.
This is from Clay Guy, clayguy.com, and here it is. It's a little Mary.
Oh, isn't that beautiful? Now I have got.
You have one too?
I have got. I believe this is from the same. It certainly looks the same. I've already managed to break it. Yeah, playguy.com. I've got one of 100, and I'll show it without the. This is called the He does wonderful stuff. He does really, really great stuff. I'm really pleased with that. There is a little hole for him. Yes, he can stand in his. There we are. I've now managed to put him back together again.
Yeah, they come off their little standees.
Yes, yeah. But, no, Clay Guy does some really... I love it when he was...
I love it.
Oh, I love it. I desperately want to be an action figure. You know, there's no greater satisfaction in life. Now you know that joy of having a figure of yourself.
Yeah.
I always hoped it was going to be Kinski from Nightbreed. Because we thought, Nightbreed is going to be the next monster Star Wars, and who knows, with the release, it might go that way. And it would be great to see a Kinski. I'm so proud of my chatter. I've got little ones. Behind my head, and I've got 18-inch animatronic versions of that. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's something that I absolutely would be delighted to see. Right now, I'm just going to select Vicky's question, which is going to come to the top. I'm just going to unmute. There's Vicky, and with luck.
Hi, Vicky.
Vicky, could you unmute yourself, please? I think you've done this before. Yes, Vicky's unmuted.
Yes, I have.
There she is.
Right, would you like to ask the twins your question?
Hi. Yeah. After See No Evil 2, what is the next horror franchise you want to work with, like Friday the 13th, Hellraiser, Nightmare on Elm Street, etc., and why? And also, is there going to be a sequel or a spin-off of American Mary?
Good question.
You do the franchise, and I'll do the Mary.
The franchise. The franchise one is tough. Quite popularly known, Clive has rewritten. He has written another Hellraiser script, which is very, very cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if he wants to direct it himself, but with his blessing, it would be beyond an honor to throw our names in the mix. And I believe our name is somewhere in the mix.
Avarat.
Cool.
Jen and I want Avarat like nobody's business.
Oh my god, I should have taken Avarat to the afterlife.
Wow, you're lost.
I'll throw that in. Yeah, special dispensation, you get Avarat.
Avarat is allowed. Everybody gets an Avarat.
Thank you. I think you just get there and they hand out the Avarats.
I also have heard, a little bird told me that they're going to be relaunching Saw. And I know I would love to do that, but more in the vein of the original film, where it's more about
appreciation for life.
Yeah, because at a certain point it became just a gore shit show, and you just looked at all these people you didn't really care about. We're like, how are they going to be horribly murdered?
How aren't they going to be horribly murdered?
With American Mary, we always wanted to do 2 sequels, but they would happen at the exact same time as the first movie because it kind of, to flesh out the world. The second movie was planned to be American Black, where you follow Dr. Black and all the doctors, so you could see their, like, severely fucked up life. Like, Dr. Grant would be so demasculized by his wife. Like, he'd have the worst fucking life ever. And that's why he goes out and he's such a shit all the time, because he has to exert his power because he
feels
none
weak
in
and powerless because he's a weak little shit.
I just kind of see the real perversion in the medical field of people with so much money, and when you cut people up for a living, it kind of gets into you. I mean,
you get a complex.
Some people can get pretty weird on that. And then the third one would be American Doll, where it's a little bit before Ruby and Beatrice get all of their work done, and you kind of follow their world, because the two of them are actually madly in love with each other.
Yeah.
And I was so into the production of the movie that when Paula, who plays Ruby, and Tristan, who plays Beatrice, were together, I was talking about their scene together, which I had never written, and I was like, "Oh no, I should have written that scene for you guys. You're never even in the same room, and you have this like beautiful relationship together." What I really would like to do, because I have so many stories for Mary, is turn it into a TV series and bring a lot of the same cast back and shoot it here in Vancouver, so you can just get really into that world.
Kind of like with Buffy the movie as opposed to Buffy the TV series. The movie was the basic idea of it, but the TV series just fully brought you into the world that Joss Whedon wanted to create. And there are so many little subtle things that were in the original script of American Mary that had to go for whatever reasons. And I really would love for people to see uncensored, unaltered, unwhatevered, our vision of what American Mary would be all the way through. I'd love to do 5 seasons of Mary.
Yeah, and I'd love to get my director buddies to come on and do their own little episodes. Like, could you imagine
Ricky Bates Jr.?
Ricky Bates Jr., who did Excision, doing an episode of American Mary, or like an arc? It would be like...
That would be awesome. And Astron 6.
Oh, Astron 6 doing American Mary? That would be sick. Yeah. So, that's the answer.
Finn.
That's a brilliant answer. Thank you very much indeed for asking it, Vicky.
Great question, Vicky.
It's a really nice question. Thank you very much indeed. There's just a couple of more. Unfortunately, Diane hasn't responded, so I'm going to start trying to take 2 or 3 of her questions. Diane Cochran says, if you were superheroes, what would your names be, and which powers would you have?
Oh, it's going to take me a second to answer that, because I have thought about that so much. Like, I have so many different superhero characters that I would like to be. Are you ready right away?
Yeah. My character would be called Mayhem, and as soon as you hurt me, I would heal right away. And I would love to have, if you've seen Chronicle, I really love telekinesis. If you haven't, please see it. It's one of the greatest superhero, non-superhero movies. It was written by Max Landis, and it's about these guys that get telekinesis, and it's done through almost like a found footage kind of format, but it's so real, and it's so amazing, because I find in superhero movies, they never use their superpowers, but in this, they do. Like, they have this car that's bothering them behind, and one guy just goes like this, and the car veers off and goes into a lake. Or the first time they learn how to fly, because if you can move stuff, you can lift yourself, and it's just a very cool and real way to look at superpowers. I'd like that.
That's awesome.
Plus, I hate being in traffic, and I hate crowds, so I wish I could go like, zoom, and they would go. And I'm a little insane, so Mayhem sounds right.
That's good.
Yeah, lovingly after the death metal band.
I would call myself Kill Darling.
Oh, shit.
Kill Darling after comics Kill Darlings by Dan Schaffer, who's also the writer of Dogwish, which I hope to make into a film one day, both of them.
Yeah.
And I would like unlimited black magic abilities. I'd like to set people on fire. I'd like to rip their skin off. I'd like to...
Dark Willow powers.
I want Dark Willow powers. I want to be able to teleport. I want to be able to turn people into things. I would like to rip them apart and then put them back together. Yeah.
We're violent. We're very violent.
Well, there are a lot of people that need their skin ripped off. Let's be honest.
It would be better if that was, one of the bullets in your chamber.
I hope somebody writes those characters for us. Yeah. Maybe we should.
That would be very interesting. There's a couple more questions I want to try and squeeze in. Derek Neal asked this question originally. How different was it filming Dead Hooker in a Trunk compared to See No Evil 2? Is there anything you preferred about the production from one to the other?
Do you want to answer the first part and I'll answer the second part?
Well, the nice thing I think that is the same as Dead Hooker, as is on Mary, as is on See No Evil, is when we first got into film as actresses, it wasn't always the funnest time to be on set. There was a lot of it's a stressful thing, and sometimes people make the experience more stressful. Yeah. And what I always like to emphasize when we're making anything is it's art. So if you put negative energy in, you're going to get shit out. That's the only way you can explain it. So
our sets are like fucking Disneyland. They're the happiest places on earth.
It's very positive. Everyone gets a hug. Everyone's taken care of. And even on...
We get a take. We start cheering. There's high fives and hugs galore.
If it's really good, we're like, oh my God, that take was so good. I'm so pregnant from that. You know, you just really like fun things. But Dead Hooker was made for $2,500 with no legality whatsoever. Like, we were running from the cops. Like, that campfire scene, we had to shoot 3 times only because people kept trying to arrest us, and we would grab our gear and run into the car and drive off.
It was pouring rain when we ended up doing that, and I remember the actress across me was saying, "It's raining, do we stop?" And I was like, no.
We don't stop.
No, we don't stop. I sit here, and she's like, what's going to happen? We're going to get wet.
We're going
to get wet, and we're going to sit here, and we're going to do the scene, and nobody's going to care that it's pouring rain.
Yeah.
It's one of the things I love about Dead Hooker is the flaws. And people ask me, would you really make it like fucking Disneyland? It's the happiest place. The big budget. Very positive. And even I would say I think that is
really good. Oh my God, that take was so good. I'm so pregnant from that.
Being able to create my own slasher villain from the ground up.
It was a pretty wild experience working with Lionsgate and WWE, especially when you had Michael Louis and saying I wanted the camera, which is a $10,000 a day camera. And like, $10,000. That camera is 4 times the budget of Dead Hooker in a Trunk. It's just unbelievable. And everybody was like, oh, be careful with the studio. They're going to rein you in. They're going to rein you in. They pushed us. Like, we got to redo all the kills, create all these characters. It was just so insanely fun. It was like having an army of 2 before and then having an army of 100 afterwards. It was just very cool. And they even let us put a mutilated penis in. Like, my favorite stories is and Michael Louisi comes up, and Props had bought a dildo, and it was in a jar. And we had the meeting, and he's about to go back to Los Angeles, and he's like, girls, I got a question for you. We're like, sure, Michael, what is it? He's like, what's with the dick? And we're like, oh, in every movie we do, we always put a mutilated penis in
because we're trying to make it equal, the gender playing field. There's so much female nudity. It's like, that's fine.
If we're going to have a dick, though, let's get a dick. So we got this Masters Effects, like, legitimately, like, balls, penis, hair.
It's famous too. It's a dick from True Blood. I don't watch True Blood so much, but apparently it was ripped off someone and thrown against the wall. So it's a super durable dick too.
And you would think
it takes a pounding.
You would think in a studio movie like this, they would say, please don't put a mutilated penis in your film. Perhaps we leave that with your independent scene. But
they knew what they bought into hiring us.
And I think that dick story can really say about how cool and supportive it was. And keep your eye out for that dick. It's in a scene. It's in a jar, and that's all I'll say. And it's probably at the wrong timing because a very sensitive scene happens, and if you look off to the left, you see a big dick in a jar just hanging out.
Yeah, you hardly notice the dick. You hardly notice it.